Television network. You joins us. Wow, this was just an unbelievable situation there. How did you feel? Because you were trying to speak and the man was not listening. He was shouting questions. You were trying to defend someone that you support, correct?
Sure, absolutely.
Mr. Trump, to say that he is not a racist.
Well, you know, again, it happened so quickly. I actually brought the gentleman along because I wanted to hear his concerns, thinking that we was going to have a logical, intelligent conversation. And then obviously he persists to yell and not really hear. And I think some people think that the louder they talk, you know, that makes them more convincing and right and accurate. And for me, I really had enough of him yelling and screaming at incorrect information. Donald Trump being a racist, Donald Trump being a racist. The moment he began the conversation with incorrect information, the conversation became invalid. So therefore, there was no need to continue the conversation.
You know, when you take a look at that, it's just a little bit of a snapshot of some of the struggle, the strife, and some of the vitriol that you can see back and forth on both sides for those that support Donald Trump or those that support Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Some of the things we've been seeing in, you know, communities that are struggling, some of the protests coming forward from Black Lives Matter. You know, as a black man in this country and one that supports Trump, what is the solution? How do you bring people together when they won't even listen to one another?
Well, the biggest thing I think is got to start with the leadership. You know, again, our current president, Barack Obama, I think, as infamously known as our divider in chief. I mean, he really had an amazing opportunity to become a international voice of unification, of bringing people together, but he's chose in certain cases to be really one-sided when instead of being the unifier to bring our country together. And it's really I think what you're seeing right now is not caused by Barack Obama. It's sure not caused by Donald Trump. It is you know, years of frustration between the races because our country is almost built on racial tension. But it's got to first start with the leaders. We got to first get rid of the adjectives that describe us. We got to stop being African American or Hispanic American. We got to just start seeing ourselves just as Americans. And the moment we stop focusing on those colors that really divide us, then we can really begin to start focusing on the colors that unite us. That's the vision of Dr. King.
Well, and so let me ask you this. So obviously you support Mr. Trump, and you mentioned here the vision of Dr. King. What would you say to these communities, minority communities that are struggling and looking for jobs and good schools and choices for their children in education? Why should they choose Mr. Trump?
Well, because obviously in mass, African Americans have been voting Democrat for over 50 years. That is facts. And after in the 50 years that we've been voting Democrats, what do we have to show for? I think our educational, those in African American communities are still at what I call the bottom of the topo. We're not at the level that we need to be. And if you're understanding your frustrations, and you really, really want to see change, we can't keep making those same decisions expecting a different result to take place. Donald Trump wants to make sure that we empower our local businesses so we can truly bring jobs back to our country.
And he's saying to those communities in a meeting of outreach, you know, take a chance on him.
Absolutely.
What do they have to lose? All right, Pastor, thank you. Always a pleasure.
So happy to see you.
And Donald Trump making big news right here in an interview you saw on the record. Our political panel is next to talk about that. Also, one college standing up and saying no censorship, and some students